I built the ICM OV10 Bronco for the largest group build I have ever participated on Instagram. I made a little poll on a community post on my YouTube channel, and you guys voted between the Mohawk and the Bronco. And the Bronco obviously won. So here I am. I have finished the construction. If you want to have a look how I constructed this most complex aircraft model kit that I've ever built, please check out the first video, which is all about the construction. And of course the cockpit. I'll link the video up here so you can go and check it out. Thanks a lot. Please do not forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel while you do so. It would be great. So after I sprayed the canopy from the outside with the same color that I used for the inside, it was finally time to prime it. And I used the AK acrylic black primer. It dries completely flat, like flatter than flat. It almost appears to be gray, actually, sometimes in the camera, depending on how the light is reflecting on it. Because it's so flat, I've never seen any other primer drying as flat as this one. And of course, you know how we do. After the priming, it's the pre-shading. Now, in this for this model, I was checking out some reference photos and also the beautiful box art of the kit. And my idea was to really make an individual pre-shading, and also the weathering, like the post shading or the weathering after the paint job. I was planning to do it like individual, only use certain colors for certain areas. And that's what I did here. So I started the pre-shading with using the Vallejo model color Ice Yellow. It's a very cool color, and I witnessed that the areas of the aircraft which are more exposed to the elements and to the wind and everything, the gray turned a bit yellowish. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm actually giving that yellow tone. Then I used the blue-gray just alongside the twin booms. I don't know how you call this, the fuselage of the twin boom? I don't know exactly. You see where I applied the blue. Some areas which seem to be a bit less exposed to the wind and everything, they seem to have, at certain pictures, have a bluish tone. And just around the exhausts, I used, what was it? Bronze green, yeah. Just to have a variation there and a darker tone already. I also used the bronze green for the flaps. The lower surface and the upper surface. That was the pre-shading, the airbrushed pre-shading done. So now it was time for some brush painted pre-shading. I used metal color for this. And just hand brush painted some lids and some details. And just to get some variation, I also used matte aluminum for certain parts. Now, from an old painting set, I had the ICM Sky Gray. And I thought, like, why not use this one? Because the tone is sky gray. I also had other ones, but I thought it's an ICM kit. Why not use the ICM acrylic? ICM acrylic paints, I haven't used them. This is only the second time that I'm using these paints. They are very thick. You have to thin them down quite a lot. And also it's a bit tricky sometimes to get the paint out of the bottle because it's so thick. But once I manage that, it's quite okay to spray it. So this is the upper surface, the pre-shaded upper surface, and these are the already painted twin booms. Now I would like to mention that for this build, ResKit kindly offered me a wheel set and a 3D printed 300-gallon fuel tank. I made a video about the wheel set, how I painted the wheels, because I just love painting wheels, and if they're freely offered to me by ResKit, then, you know, it's like twice the fun. So I linked the video up here, you can check it out and have a look. The wheel set and the accessory fuel tank here, they really spice up my build and, you know, give it an individual touch. It's like Genesis, man. So thanks again, Andri from ResKit, for sending me these two sets. You're the best, man. Look how beautiful. You have to check it out in the end, Andri. You have to check the end of the video when I will show you some pictures of the finished build. This stuff really will stand out. You'll see. You will see. So for the propeller, I used burnt iron first, after the black primer, and then I overpainted it with the sky gray. And I really like the red propeller caps here. It gives a great aggressive look to the entire model. Now after painting the propellers, I gently sanded the paint down a bit and not make it look too clean. Now I used Ammo Lucky Varnish again to give it a gloss coat, then applied the decals. These ICM decals from the kit, they're quite good. There's nothing bad to say about them. They work pretty fine. So yeah, it was time for the weathering. So as I told you, I was planning to use different colors for the weathering, and that started already with the panel line washes. So I used different colors of panel line washes. For the lower surface, for instance, I used a green gray, and for the upper surface I used blue dirt. And around the exhaust areas, I think I used black. We will see now. So I start with the dark green gray, even it's a dark green gray. I applied this all across the lower surface. And it was also interesting to see, like, if you have different surfaces on the same model and you apply quite different type of colors of panel line washes, you know, how the appearance changes. It's interesting. So I also used orange brown for the lower surface, especially behind the landing gear, because I was assuming that if this aircraft had a very, very short takeoff and landing time and distance. So I was assuming if this aircraft would have to land somewhere, it could be dusty, it could be a bit dirty. So I applied these orange-brown panel line wash just around or behind the landing gear. After playing around with the panel line washes, I did some dry brushing. I used the MO dry brush paints. They are very good for this task. Now first I used the chipping color. So we're almost halfway in the video, and that is the moment to tell you, please like the video if you love the smell of fresh paint. Dislike the video if your paint smells like old Swiss cheese. And while you're liking the video or disliking, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free of charge, and I see a lot of new viewers who haven't subscribed yet. So please subscribe. Thanks a lot. So right next after the dry brushing, I started playing around with shaders. It's also a product from Amomig. No, I'm not sponsored by Amomig. It's just I like those these weathering products. They make weathering easy and fun because you can play around with these different products. Usually they don't cost too much and they last quite long, because for weathering I usually only use a little bit, not too much. So the shaders, you can use them also straight out of the bottle. I tend to thin them a bit with 1 or 2 drops of water, like, I don't know, 50 or 60% shaders and the rest water. And always apply it in very thin coats, and leave it to dry between the coats. They dry quite fast. So because this construction of this unique designed aircraft is so complex, the most complex, it's the most complex model I have ever built so far, I had to paint all this in separate parts. Like, you saw it, the fuselage with the wing, and then the 2 twin booms separate, and the vertical stabilizer, because that big vertical stabilizer will connect the 2 twin booms, the horizontal stabilizers on the twin booms. So as long as you haven't assembled the twin booms, you can also not assemble the vertical stabilizer. So then it was time, after most of the weathering, actually, yeah, more or less most of the weathering was done, it was time to finally assemble everything together. Because, yeah, you see it, maybe the space between the fuselage and the twin booms is very narrow. And if I would have put it all together at first, I'm sure I could not have painted those corners and edges properly. And I remember also, because I do not only have the best but also the smartest subscribers, that someone commented me that I have to be careful assembling it before the painting, because some parts are then very tricky to reach, so better not do a full assembly before the painting, but then work with these separate parts. Now, as I mentioned before, this was the moment where I could assemble the vertical stabilizer as well. As I also mentioned before, is this quite small aircraft has quite a big armament. So there are, besides the 4 7.62mm machine guns, it has a lot of those Lao rocket launchers. Actually, this version has 6 of it. Yeah, 6 of it. 233, 2 LAU-10, and 268. So 2 small ones and 2 big ones and the 33 ones. Now this is the ResKit 3D printed 300-gallon fuel tank, which I was offered from ResKit. And what I'm doing here is just finalizing the weathering by applying some petrol and fuel spills with a very, very modern technique. Now, speaking of ResKit, these are the wheels from the ResKit wheel set, and it was time to super glue them in place. Yeah, because I had to add quite a lot of weight into the kit for not making it a tail sitter, the wheels, they have to carry quite a load, a heavy load. So here I'm just checking for the position to be correct for the front wheel. ICM really did a great job with this kit of the OV10 Bronco in 1/72 scale. There's also one in 1/48. I don't know about this one, but the 1/72 scale, it's great. It's complex, it's a bit difficult, but it's manageable, and the kit is very well designed. The fitting is great. The details are fantastic, fantastic details for 1/72 scale. You can have a look at the 3D 300-gallon fuel tank and the wheels from ResKit. These accessories, they're also very, very nicely designed. The amount of details you find on those pieces, you could never have it on all the parts of just the regular kit. Usually, in this scale, it's not possible. So that's why I would like to, if you made it to this point of the video, please leave a comment. Tell me, how is it possible Ukrainian manufacturers are doing such a great job? considering their very tough circumstances. I just don't get it. How is this possible? You know, they are just shooting out those kits and those products. And the products are good. They are very good. They are highly enjoyable. Highly enjoyable. So I did it also in the wheel set video, and I will do it here in the final video of the Bronco build again. I will link those two accessory wheel sets and 300-gallon fuel tank of ResKit directly to the ResKit site. I will put the links in the description of the video. And while I was weathering and do the final assembly and the final weathering again and assembling the fuel tank and everything, I just realized that I did not cover the upper surface yet with a flat coat. And I wanted to have a flat coat on this model, a flat finish, because yeah, it was also a reconnaissance aircraft. It was flying at low altitude. It was trying to make out enemy positions. So yeah, it was trying to avoid radar. That's why I did a flat finish. What I'm doing here is I don't want to sniff the melted plastic. I'm trying to get some decent pieces for the antennas. And I think this time it worked. Yes, that looks good. I did cut larger pieces, then primed them, and while I was waiting for the primer to dry, I could take off the canopy masks. I used a canopy mask set of clear props for the OV-10A Bronco kit of ICM. So after I had painted the antennas, I cut them to the right length, or yeah, more or less just what I assumed to be the right length. To assemble them was quite tricky actually, because they were very difficult to grab and to hold, and if it falls down, like, and then I just applied a little bit of glue, and I applied a bit more because it fell down and the glue was all over the place. So what I decided to do it the other way around, just used my toothpick to apply a small amount of glue on the aircraft, like on the surface, and then just hold the antennas onto it. That was much easier. See, after a few seconds, it bonded. And yeah, I had to make sure because yeah, it stays in the right position. So I spent quite some time adjusting it, checking it, adjusting it, checking it. And very difficult for the camera to focus on this antenna. There, here we go, here we go. And just to finish this off, there was just a little bit of rigging to do. I think there's only one connecting cable there. Used my super glue, dipped the end of the thread into the super glue and then hold it in place. And that's it. Now we're gonna check out some photos of the finished build. Here we go.